when you fast before chemo, we're now learning, Walter Longo at UCLA, you set up this beautiful differentiate. You get into ketosis quickly, the 72-hour fast. Your healthy cells are made more robust. Your cancer cells are weakened because you drop blood sugar and they're having to shift metabolism. And then you can give lower doses of chemo and they're just sensitized. The cancer cells are sensitized to die. And then you can measure the side effects from the chemo and the healthy cells, and every one of them is diminished. And the objective ones that you can count, so the number of times the patient throws up goes from like 10 a day to 0. So it works, just a fast. Who knew? It's free.
Well, of course, it makes such fucking perfect sense, right? All right, these cells are fermenting glucose to survive.
Yeah.
All right, so the press strategy, because you talk about the press and pulse, the press strategy is to put pressure on them. Hey, no glucose anymore, buds. Sorry about that. And then you come in with an agent that kills off the weakest. Well, the ones that are the weakest are going to be the ones that are dependent on the thing that you're no longer providing, which is glucose. And so those ones die faster and the patient recovers like quickly because the other healthy cells are still utilizing mitochondria for energy. They can still use oxygen.
Right.
And we're not starving the body of oxygen at all. In fact, then the next part of the strategy comes in, okay, instead of starving the body of oxygen, if that's what's actually supporting healthy mitochondria, let's compound the oxygen through hyperbaric treatments.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder, like, so this collective the cancer cells are living in and the healthy cells, you're all competing for blood glucose, and I always think of Lance Armstrong. You found out that he was actually riding his bike, his trainer, while he was taking chemo. So he was creating this environment that these healthy cells they're out competing the cancer cells for every nutrient scrap. So I wonder too how much we could, we've always told patients to just lay down, don't be stressed, you'd want to, but I wonder if you created that more of a competition between the healthy cells and the cancer cells, that you'd even get more of a bang for your buck.
Well, it could be just that you're absorbing more glucose too. You could just be closer to a lower blood sugar state because you go for a walk after a heavy dinner, your blood sugar is going to drop.
Yeah.
Even a walk.
Right.
Like just like simple. These are fat. All of this is like research facts. So that could be it. It's out competing for nutrients, of course, but it also could be just the metabolic effects of starving these cancer cells of their primary source of fuel, which is sugar.
Simple.
Too simple. Too simple for a $1 trillion industry, right?
And that's the problem. Most of these therapies are free. You can't patent them.
Right.
So how, an oncologist who's already too busy.
It's actually literally free of fast. Right. It's the freest thing. For the freest thing you can possibly do. A healthy diet, at least you got to pay for food.
Right.
You can fast. You're good.
That's it. Yeah.
Literally, you drink. You got to drink water and breathe air. Ready, go. Does insurance cover that? I don't know. It costs nothing. You don't need to file the claim. You're good. But then the research has panned out, and that's the other thing too. Is like for people who are because the doctors, there's so much fear, and when there's so much fear and so much hope, and the stakes are so high, it's going to be tough to change even the patient's mind about what to do. But something like when you show the research of, okay, you can still have your chemotherapy, but just if you fast beforehand, look at how much better it works.
Yeah.
That's something that I think like everybody can get on board with.
Yeah.
All right, fasting is a little bit annoying, but guess what? So cancer's way worse. So if this shows that it's going to work and all you got to do is fast for 3 days before this, and it's going to show these dramatic improvements, like it should be the absolute standard of care. But how many oncology places are actually recommending this?
I bet low single digits, if any. Some are, but it's nowhere near the majority.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's sad. Mm-hmm. And then you have to look at why. Is it the stubbornness of the mind? Is it something where the actual monetary value of these cancer treatments being prolonged, and you talk about all of the unnecessary chemotherapy that's given at the end of life, which I think, was it Munger who talked about it, was like almost nothing short of evil because it had no benefit.
Yeah.
And it just completely deteriorated the quality of life in people who had no chance of survival, rung up the tab, but at the cost of someone's life and their family and their ability like peacefully live out their last days.
Yeah. And then compared to people who got palliative care, which is just a support group, helping you deal with the fact you could die and just coming to terms with what's happening. The people who got palliative, this was published in the New England Journal of Medicine, who got palliative care, most of them forewent the end of life, like Hail Mary chemo that other people take, and lived longer, on average 2 months longer. So they had a better ending